I'm trapped in a dream, not the sweet sounds of my dwelling.
My name's Craig Williams, it's my wife Carmela Orlando. We met through the Adelaide Ute Club, and we both have a passion for holding utes.
Hope they can't take me away to the road I know where the birds sit on the telegraph poles.
We got married end of last May. May. Yeah. And we got all our close mates together and some really nice utes.
We had 5 utes in the wedding.
5 utes.
Yeah.
And we did have a classic Ford as the lead wedding car, but most of the others were all Holden, so that made up for it.
It's good.
Chick's good.
Going back just before Christmas, it was our 48th wedding anniversary, so we were looking through
46?
46, one of our albums, and on our honeymoon, I didn't realise at the time, but looking at the photograph, we went on a trip to Canberra on our honeymoon in an ute, and it's identical to the one that I now own. So perhaps that's another reason that I have fond memories of the ute.
Do you know what? 46 years ago, I don't really remember. But I do remember it was cold. And it's got a heater in it. I love this car. It's got a heater in it.
Yeah, the old one, the one we went on our honeymoon, I don't think it did.
No.
But and it was very cold, but we slept in the back occasionally. It was a great vehicle. Yep, one of the best.
Things you used to do. That's true too. That's the worry. Our kids might see this.
It's an all original vehicle. There's nothing been altered on it. The only thing I've done, put a lot of elbow grease into it and polishing it up. And I have actually repainted it, but it's the original colour. It's got a radio in it. That's the only thing that's not original. I have put a later model in because when we do a little bit of travelling, which we do in this vehicle, it's comforting to be able to switch on and be able to listen to a bit of music, etc. It does get a bit of use, so I've clocked up from 50,000 miles up to about 68,000 miles. I've been threatened not to sell it. It will eventually go to my daughter, and we'll have a lot of fun out of it in the meantime.
This is my FJ Ute and my pride and joy, and it's in mint condition, and I'll treasure it till the day I die. And I have 7 beautiful grandchildren who are enjoying the benefits of this as well by going to the street parades every year. And my 7 beautiful grandchildren get dressed up ready for Father Christmas, and on the back of the ute we go and handing out lollies and sweets. It's been a great experience for me. The whole family thoroughly enjoy it. And I think the grandkids are eyeing it off for future years and for their benefit, I guess, to do some wheelies in it. I reckon they might do some wheelies, but I'm going to keep it under wrap for a little while.
I can tell you 1 or 2 stories about this ute. It's had several trips to the inland, like Inaminka, Birdsville, Windora, Charleville and Junda and places like that. Took my grandson up to Inaminka. We struck a bit of rain, and I sat on this sandhill there while all these 4-wheel drives were sitting around, and they said, "Where are you going with that?" And I said, "Inaminka." And anyhow, there's a truck bogged down in the middle of the road in front of me, and I caught him on the radio, and he said, "What are you in?" And I said, "Oh, this WB." He said, "Bring her down here, I'll get you around." So away we went. We got to Inaminka that night. No worries, and these fellows next day come along and they said, "How long you been here?" I said, "Last night." They couldn't believe that we'd got through, and they were sitting there waiting for it to dry out. The original motor has been reconned once. around about the 320, 350,000 Ks, and it's probably done 80 to 100,000 since then. But I think it's running better now than brand new. Does not use any oil, etc. So I'm happy. I reckon that's done a magnificent job. Yeah. So as you can hear, it's ticking over like a new one. I used it as a road runner between a farm we had between Burra and Nyngan in New South Wales, which was a round trip one way of about 1,000 Ks. We used to do that in 8 and 9 hours in those days, but you wouldn't be going to cruise like that now. I'm quite happy with it. And one stage I said about selling it to my son. He said, no way. He said, you stick to that, and he said, I'll have it when you're gone. So that's where we're hanging on. My son actually lives here as well, and he's got the other 2 utes that I've had. So we'll go and see them directly. I've had this ute since 1973, this 1-tonner HQ. This is my son John.
Hello.
It was used on the farm, and I used it for general town use and so on, and carting produce to shows. We moved to Nyngan in New South Wales, and it was taken up there. It was still used as a bit of a hack and in and out of town, etc., and backwards and forwards when needed to Burra. When we sold up there, son John took it over, and he can carry on with the story.
Yeah, I remember travelling to Nyngan, New South Wales in it, and it was bloody slow. We used to only be able to do 110 Ks, 100 Ks max, and I used to hate going up there. It was a 10-hour drive instead of an 8-hour drive. Bloody awful. There was no aircon or anything, and it was just shocking. And Dad used to treat it as the town ute, you know, and we'd go into town shopping. We're 40 mile out of town, and we'd wipe the seats down and everything before we bloody go into town. Didn't want to get the back of our shirts dirty and stuff like that. And then I took it over, and I used it as a shearing vehicle. Then we bought transport operation. It was a delivery vehicle. And then my wife and I sold the business that we had, and we packed up the old 1-tonner and mucked around, changed motors, put V8 motors in it, different diffs, and put an aircon, under-dash aircon, and made it a highway vehicle.
A limousine.
A limo, yeah. And then we were off. We headed around Australia. We were going. It did make 4 trips across the Nullarbor, which weren't too bad. I'd rather do that than head to Nyngan 10 years earlier and the bloody thing was at 100 Ks an hour. And then we came back to Burra to live. We bought a hardware store. This was our delivery vehicle for 6 years, and still my main vehicle. I remember going to a very prominent gentleman's funeral in Adelaide in the old 1-tonner, and it wasn't a good look pulling up there. The decision was made to keep it, but upgrade for a better delivery vehicle, which we did for our work. Then we bought a second business. This vehicle came over, and this was a delivery vehicle again, until a year or so after that we did upgrade again to get something better. And now it is hasn't been used a lot. It's been deregistered about a year ago, which is the first time in its working life that it wasn't registered. As you can see now, it's quite handy to put stuff in and on. I ran out of room in the back, so I had the bonnet all loaded up with the stuff, and as well as on top of the cab. But every now and then I empty it out and get it out and try to not to load it up with too much rubbish. Still goes. I had it out not that long ago. We've got a few acres down here. I loaded it up and took the kids in and did some circle work and mucked around, and that was a bit of fun. But I doubt whether we'll ever sell it. It'll just stay here and we'll keep it. Ideally, I'll restore it one day. But yeah, it's been a good old work bus, this thing. Very reliable, and it's part of us. This is now my latest version of a whole new to what we got. It's a VY. It's nice and comfy. It's good to a bit more of a town ute. We don't really use it as a delivery vehicle. Every time I use it, I wash it. I get told off washing that bloody ute again. I put a cover over it, and it's a bit better. It's a bit like Dad used to look after the 1 tonner to go to town, and to shoot to Adelaide to do business trips, and God help, to go to more funerals. So I don't look quite as rough turning up in the old 1 tonner, but it's good to have a highway vehicle, if you like, now. I remember when Dad bought this blue one, the WB. I wasn't that old, I was driving, and I thought it was Christmas. He'd come in with this V8 4-speed ute with a bloody smart dash and everything, and it was great. And we used to open it up out there on the highways at the other side of Broken Hill and Wilcannia, and there was times Dad and I'd have contests to see who could get home the quickest. We wouldn't tell Mum, but it was all good.
Now you can see what colour it used to be. Not that brown flecky stuff. Used to be grey, willow grey I think it was called.
I learned to drive in this vehicle. I was about 12 or 11 or something on the farm, and I remember having trouble getting through gates, and one day Dad sent me down to do something, and there was 2 gates there, and I bloody hit both of them. I wasn't happy, so I got home, parked it in the shed, smashed the mirror getting in the shed, and then I bloody did a runner and hid and left a note, and because what was the result was I had to pay for these scratches down the side and the bloody new mirror and everything. Oh, I thought I was a disaster forever, but it happened and we got over it.
Most kids learned to drive in a Holden ute on a farm, didn't they? This is the first model ute that was built. It's been kept in original condition right through. Been in our family now for 3 generations. 4 owners with my brother, then Mum and Dad, and myself, and now John. It was used as a farm ute then, and registered as a primary producer, and it's still got the original primary producer badge when it was last registered in 1959. We moved from that farm into Burra in about 1982 I think, and it was put in the shed there as a going to do restore job one day. And incidentally, it had never been parked outside under a gum tree or anything like that. It was always shedded. The only rust it had on was a little bit under here and behind the little stone guards on the back mud guard. I think that was all, wasn't it?
Yeah, there wasn't. No. My earliest memory of the ute is in the farm shed at Hanson. I can never remember it going prior to that, but I remember it was always loaded up with junk and all this stuff, and every season the bees used to get in it, and Dad was chucking petrol on these bloody bees everywhere every year, to keep these bees out, but they keep coming back. And it was a thing that I was always going to do. I seemed to mess around with it. I remember as a kid I had the sun visor off and started sanding that back, and of course that got too hard and just got left in the back, and it just sat there, nothing happened. And finally I decided I could think of not much else to spend the money on but this, so I contracted my brother-in-law, and I paid him to fix it, and I said, mate, go down and get this ute, pick it up from Dad's, and I'll just keep sending you money, which is what I bloody did for 12 months.
You get a bit out of the other battery here, Mary.
Gonna run off, run.
Okay, well here they go. She's about to leave Burra. There's the director. The director's coming out here. Oh, they're all coming out.
Oh, look at it.
Look at that blowing over now. Oh.
Everyone's house with our coffee will be full of tea.
Thought it would be about 12 or 13 grand, and finished up it was over $18,000 what I spent to fix it up. And that was in 1998, and I literally have not spent anything since apart from a service and oil change, and still got the tyres on it that they did in 98. And I don't use it now, I just show it. I try to go to a couple of events a year, a couple of local shows. I don't have time much now, and it does sit, which is a shame. But all the same, it's a worthy investment. We insure it for a lot of money, a lot more than what I paid to fix it up. So there you go, it's been in the family for a long, long time, and that's irreplaceable, really.
I'm proud that John has done what he's done to it. Really pleased. So. Good.
The sun sets over the plains, not in between the shadows lights of the city lights. Crickets sing the tune of the night. All I see is dogs a honking, traffic a barking, fast lane.
I've been stuck with Holdens basically all my motoring life. Went to FE Holden, from then on I was Holdens. Right through with the first Monaro they built, I had one of those, into a Statesman or a Premier before that. Decided I might have a change, have a look at a Fairlane. Well, that didn't last me long before I got rid of it. It was wanting to fall to bits. So I went back to Holdens. I've had I don't know how many since, another 4 or 5 since that. So I'm quite happy with Mr. Holden. Thank you.
Was one